Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Reddit Aliens. I'm John, and as always, thank you so much for being here. Straightforward topic, let's do it. Serious. What is your secret? Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. When I was a kid, I shot a metal dog bowl with a BB gun. It ricocheted into my dad's sliding glass door. Bullet holes, spiderwebbed glass. I panicked. I picked up a piece of gravel, rubbed it into the bullet hole, then placed a piece of gravel near the door. I then started up the lawnmower, mowed part of the backyard, and intentionally mowed the grass too short. I told my dad I must have hit a rock while mowing. BB gun didn't get taken away, which was great, but 10 years later, I'm an actual landscaper, and my dad pays me to cut his grass. My stepmom makes me check for rocks before I mow. There aren't even any. It's the lie that won't go away. I make a point to say hi to small animals like squirrels and birds and help slow-moving insects like snails traveling across sidewalks so they don't get stepped on, but only when people won't see me because I'm afraid they'll make fun of me. I'm in my late 30s with a good job, family, and mentally sound. I just love these little critters. One time when I was in 3rd grade, I got one of those Harry Potter books where you can build your own wand. I decided to follow the directions to make it Slytherin material, thinking it would be like an evil wand. As I finished making it, my brother walked into my room, and it really pissed me off that he walked in without knocking. So I put a pretend curse on him with it. No big deal, right? Later that night, my brother was playing outside. He was standing on the top of the slide, and out of nowhere he fell. He broke his arm trying to catch himself, and he had to be taken to the emergency room. So there I was, convinced that the spell I put on him worked, and that I indeed had an evil magic wand. Later that night, when everyone else was asleep, I grabbed a shovel from the garage and dug a hole in our backyard and buried that wand. To this day, I've never looked for it nor told anyone, and that is my secret. I've been terribly depressed for over 20 years since the murder of my mom, and have just gotten to the point where it's commonplace to always feel terrible. I finished college and got a job in my field, have a house and a family, but come home to a cluttered, unkept mess as my fiance does nothing while I'm at work. This stresses me more and has put me into an even deeper depression. I've recently started getting heavy into fitness and diet as I was close to 400 pounds from stress eating most of my life, and I'm finding that my main goal isn't good health like my family thinks, but instead to become physically stronger because my mental strength is getting worse when I'm home. Nobody in my family is aware I have made about $6 million from investments in my own businesses. They think I spend too much free time with inner city youth doing charity work for a low-paying job. That job is my company. I appreciate your comments and the love from them. At one point, I was told that tutoring these kids would not do anything. My family said this. Yet all of them have paid it forward with my company. I met people who have dreams and I chose to invest in them. They pay me back with interest and pay it forward in my company for the next one. We look out for each other. I won the lottery the day after my 18th birthday. I won't state how much, but I live in a state where you can claim anonymously. I haven't told anyone and haven't made any lifestyle changes. I do have a heck of a retirement fund and investment portfolio. The only reason I bring this up now is people are just starting to put the pieces together. Not sure if I will end up telling my family, but I can't risk word getting out as my sister has a huge mouth. I'm planning on moving out and away from my family. They're really suffocating, and I really want to be independent of everyone, but every time I make a move to do so, something breaks and I'm stuck here even more so than before. I can't really explain it well, but essentially I cannot see at night. Ever since I was little, I remember sitting on the front porch at night and not being able to see anything really. Very vaguely I could tell where trees were, but other than that, everything just goes black to me. I've seen an optometrist, 2 actually, and neither think anything is wrong with my eyes. This being said, I can't drive at night because all I can see are the headlights of cars, which blur together so badly that I'm unable to distinguish where the vehicles are. I haven't told anybody except medical professionals the extent of my night blindness, and if anyone sees this or is concerned, I do not drive at night for my protection and the safety of others. My brother, by blood, is suicidal, I'm 90% sure, as well as homicidal, and wants to slit my throat. I can't do anything about it. I have to lock my bedroom door at night and barricade it as well because he may be borderline psychotic. I have to live with him with no way out, and my life is constantly in danger. Luckily, this will get buried. I just needed to rant. I often contemplate what my life would be like if I divorced my wife. Sometimes she makes me so miserable I want to run for the hills, but other times things are good. I'm starting to not like the ups and downs of our relationship because the downs are starting to outweigh the ups. I find her constantly in a foul mood about anything and everything because she can rarely see the positive side of any situation. But we have 3 kids, and I'd probably get destroyed in family court, so I'll soldier on. After all, this is a secret, right? Not my best kept secret, but I'm possibly the fakest person I know. I can see good traits in most anyone, and most disagreements in the day-to-day are truly not worth having. Arguments about a given nerd topic almost always end in accusations of entitlement, rose-colored glasses, bitch too much, so I don't comment on those. As a result, I can fit in with just about any group. If someone happens to come with me between group changes, they're shocked at the personality shift. Maybe it's due to a lot of traveling when I was a kid, but I'm amazing at fitting in. Some days it feels very manipulative, that none of these people know who I really am, or even if I know who I am. There was a commenter in this thread that said her biggest secret was she didn't have any friends because she felt weird. I looked through her post history on my mobile and realized not only did I feel the same way, but she and I had a lot of hobbies in common. I was getting up the nerve to PM her and hopefully strike up a friendship when she deleted the comments, and I have no way of finding her profile again. In 4th grade, I had a girlfriend. I used to go over her house occasionally since she lived up the street to watch movies. She introduced me to The Legend of Zorro, and she'd give me a soda, things I generally wasn't allowed to do, and on my birthday she got me Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I always said I was going to get her this Bratz doll pet house. I even told her I had it for her, I just couldn't get it to her because my parents. There was no dollhouse, there never was. Now eventually people started to tease me for going out with her. No clue why, it's 4th grade kids are cruel, myself included. So I stopped hanging around her, stopped going to her house, and eventually stopped talking to her altogether. Fast forward to middle school. To this day, I have no clue what happened, but all I know is that her mother passed and eventually she herself got really sick, to the point where she could barely speak and had to be escorted through the halls and eventually in a wheelchair. We had an assembly sometime in 8th grade, and by chance, her caregiver wheeled her right next to my seat. Her friend, who vaguely remembers me, brings up 4th grade and asks, do I remember it? Of course I do. But I convinced the girl that she had the wrong person, and that I had no clue who this girl in the wheelchair was. Upon hearing this, the girl in the wheelchair starts to visibly get upset, as I continue to deny any knowledge of her. It got to the point where she had gotten so visibly upset, her caretaker had to take her out of the gymnasium. Fast forward to senior year in high school. I receive a message from a friend from 4th grade saying that the girl had passed away due to her illness, and when news got around, someone in my class again brought up the 4th grade, but again they weren't too sure. So even in her passing, I still denied any ties to her. This is my deepest secret. It haunts me every day to this day. Every time I look back on it, I realize how disgusting of a human being I was and still think I am. She was nothing but nice to me, and there isn't a day that goes by that I don't hate myself because of it. I've spent every day since to make sure and vowed I would never treat anyone, no matter who they are, like that ever again. And I've hopefully stayed true to my word. I have no right to even say it, but may you rest in peace, and I hope you can forgive me for my transgressions. It was a secret until a few hours ago. My sister's boyfriend molested me when I was a kid. Typical shit. Hey, come sit with me. That hard thing? That's it. You're 9, so you've probably never seen one. Want to touch it? Ah, it's not weird. Here, I'll turn on P so you can see how you're supposed to touch it. That was 2 years of my life. I was a bit of a storyteller as a kid, so when I tried to tell someone, I was making shit up. He was arrested last year for doing that same thing to another young girl. I thought no one knew, but my mom suspected and finally got me to admit it a few hours ago, in order to comfort my niece, who had something similar happen when my idiot drug-addicted sister left her kids at a trap house. The F did she think would happen? Meth makers were the best of society, and were going to take great care of his daughters while she got high and stood on a street corner to pay for her drugs. So, I got to talk to my 9-year-old niece and tell her I know what she's feeling. It's the grossest feeling in the world to have an adult take advantage of you like that. Problem is, she doesn't know his name. He was just staying at the house and happened to be left with the kids. I want to kick him in the effing balls. What the F is with people and messing with kids? There's nothing sexual about my niece. She's a little girl who doesn't smile anymore, and I would do anything to give her smile back. I've never really told anyone this, but when I was a kid, my mom used to leave her douches in the shower. When I took my bath or shower, I would fill them up with water and drink out of them, thinking they were like water bottles. As I grew into a woman and learned what douching was, I realized to my horror what I had done. I live in shame now. Ooh. Look, we all do things when we're kids because we don't understand them. And I'm sorry for making those sounds, but that was a disturbing thought, yeah, live and learn. I graduated college a semester later than I should have. I walked in the ceremony, then found out later that there was an issue and I'd need to take some summer courses. The university system didn't catch it because they allowed summer students to walk in the spring if they wanted to. I ended up paying for the summer classes out of pocket, cash, so as to leave no record that they had occurred. I don't know why, but at the time, it was very important to me that everything seemed above board with respect to the spring graduation date. None of my friends or family know I'm a summer graduate. In fact, nobody at all knows except, I guess, a handful of university bureaucrats. I once started a gag that I'm colorblind, but I'm really not. I keep telling people now that I'm colorblind, and I have grown accustomed to it. I'm too far to say that I'm not colorblind, but people don't seem to forget about this, and about me, and I'm afraid of slipping up. It's such a stupid lie, too. At least I don't lie on my Tinder profile. I seem like a nice and calm person. I never speak loud, I never get mad at anyone, I'm always the middle party in every fight, but deep down I'm really angry, like punch a wall angry, and I'm afraid this anger is ever going to come out in an unhealthy way. I've been on many dates, but I've only ever been intimate with 2 women, so I started a fake an air of confidence when it came to women for a while. I met my now wife after this point and started lying about how many women I had been intimate with over the course of our relationship. We're now married 3 years in, and she still thinks I was a stud when in reality, what I did was kinda sad or lame. I am in a loving, fun, genuinely helpful and enjoyable relationship. My boyfriend and I only have sex once every few weeks or few months if one of us is dealing with an injury. His penis is uncomfortably large. I'm not bragging, and I'm not happy about it. That thing is huge and it hurts. Of course there's lots of foreplay and lube involved, but it still hurts. So I get nervous and tense up, which makes things worse, and then he loses his erection. It's way more frustrating than sex should be. Everything is cool though. When I was in college, I had a sugar daddy. My parents are immigrants and were struggling with bills and a bunch of other stuff. They needed help with money, and I needed help with student loans and utility bills. Long story short, I worked at a bar, met this wealthy older man, and he offered to take care of me if I was willing to be his arm candy. Everything was consensual, and he never pressured me to do anything I didn't want to do. It also helped that he was fairly attractive. After I finished with college, we parted ways. I have a crush on my personal trainer. I want to ask him out when I stop being his client, but knowing myself, I probably won't. Also, he's probably just being nice to me because he's naturally friendly and I pay him. LOL. I sincerely do not care about my family. I moved out planning to cut contact with them. Currently, I only speak to one of my older sisters because she took care of me when I was little, and I feel a bit guilty about leaving her with our mess of a mom, but I know I'm going to cut contact with her soon. I don't miss them. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to see them or hear about them. I dreamed of running away from home since I was 7 years old, and I dreamed of cutting contact with all of them ever since I first started planning to move out at 13, but they don't know that. It makes me sound like an asshole. I know, but I've put up with their bullshit for long enough, and I don't want any of them in my life.